Hi everyone and welcome. I'm Frankie Vu and today I'll be taking you through a deep dive on all things Canon, speaking to experts in their field and world-leading visual storytellers about how Canon has reimagined what's possible yet again. Expect some big reveals. There's a lot to share, so make sure you stick around to the end. So, the EOS R system. Since its introduction in 2018, the R system has rapidly evolved. The revolutionary RF mount empowers cutting-edge lenses with stunning optical performance and practicality to work alongside Canon's innovative cameras that drive them with unrivaled imaging sensor designs. With the ever-growing RF lineup, there's something guaranteed to complement anyone's creativity. Let's take a look. Okay, time to get into it by bringing a brand new camera into the EOS R family. In May this year, Canon announced the development of the highly anticipated EOS R1, and people got excited. Why? Because there's truly nothing else like it on the market. The 1 series that started with the EOS 1 over 35 years ago is known for its reliability and incredible performance. So in a nutshell, the EOS R1 is your go-to for news, sports, and fast-paced action. This is the Canon EOS R1, the flagship reinvented.
To capture that iconic moment,
you need to stay ahead of the game.
To get the front page.
To stay focused.
To have focus.
You need an iconic camera. It's a mindset to see the bigger picture and hone in on the detail. That's gone in the blink of an eye. See the shot before it happens. Stop time.
Because the moment
won't wait for you.
You've got to be fast.
Visualize the win.
And believe in yourself when no one else does.
the power is in your hands.
Together,
We are one. Capturing the unforgettable.
focusing
Suspending a moment.
and creating history.
To make the front page,
You have to be the first.
You have to be the best.
Join the legacy.
Stay ahead of the game.
Let's talk specs. The EOS R1 is all about speed and high sensitivity. We've got a lot to go over, so here are just the standouts. This is the first EOS camera to include cross-type autofocus, meaning you'll never miss those high-speed action shots. We have an all-new high-speed sensor with a 24 megapixel count for high-resolution imagery and minimal rolling shutter. And as you'd expect, the EOS R1 is a multitasker. It can shoot stills and video simultaneously when in HD, and record full 6K 60p RAW internally to memory card. Joining me now is Tibor from Canon to talk us through the brand new Canon EOS R1. Tibor, there's a lot to unpack here with this new release, but I feel like we should start at the beginning with the pedigree of the EOS 1. Can you tell me a little bit more about the history of this product?
Yeah, the EOS 1 series cameras have been well known by professionals for decades now, as the EOS 1 was originally released in 1989, and all of these cameras in the range, in the 1 series range, have been known for speed, quality, reliability, durability.
So in terms of, the range of cameras that Canon has, this is really known as the top of the range, the best that Canon has to offer, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah. And that's because we try to make sure that these products are actually delivering what the professionals are needing.
So speaking of quality and the decisions that have gone into this camera, can you tell me a bit more about the 24 megapixel sensor and why that's an important decision?
Yes, so this camera actually features a 24.2 megapixel backside illuminated stack sensor, which is quite important because most of the photographers associate this type of sensor with low light capabilities. But what we did with this camera, we also increased the speed of it in various different ways. So the camera is featuring also a Digic accelerator processor together with the Digic X. These two processors and the sensor can actually formulate a really good imaging platform that really helps with the high-speed shooting in various different ways. As I mentioned, we've got the high-speed readout, so it keeps the rolling shutter minimum. And so this sensor working together nicely with these two processors and producing amazing image quality.
So with a line of features that kind of covers so many different areas, is there anything that really stands out for you?
So it would be the autofocus, because in this camera we have deep learning algorithms that really helps photographers. So for example, I'm not a professional photographer, but I went on shoots before to test out the camera features. And because it has the action priority functionality, it made me feel like I'm a professional because I could use it in the various different sports that it supports, and I could actually get decent images with really high hit rate. And that's also thanks to the cross-type autofocus that this camera features in the sensor. And basically what that means is that we have in the photodiodes two-directional sensitivity, so it can pick up on both directions, vertical and horizontal, which makes it easier for the camera to focus on any subjects that are further away, very small in the frame, or also when you've got some stripy shirts, for example, on a jersey. Or another good thing about this is for sports photographers is that you can easily shoot through the net from behind the goalpost, because that's where some of the cameras in the past were getting confused with the wires of the net. This camera is not going to be fooled by that.
So Tibor, a lot of people watching this will be expecting this camera to have global shutter. Can you talk to me about the decision to not have that?
Yeah, literally we don't need global shutter because these cameras are actually featured with really fast readout speed sensor. In the EOS R1, the sensor readout speed is actually 40% faster than in the EOS R3. And compared to the 1DX Mark III mechanical shutter, we're actually same speed, if not a little bit faster. We just would like to make sure that the camera delivers the quality that the professionals are expecting from these cameras.
I've just spotted this as well, which would look great on my mantelpiece, but I'd imagine that's not what it's for. What is this?
This is showing the internal frame of the product. It's actually the magnesium alloy body that is making the whole product quite light. And of course, it will be sealed around to make it more durable, water resistant and dust resistant as well. So this is the key for robustness.
Nice. It's also great for ASMR. EOS R1. Thanks, Tibor. There's so much to discuss about this camera, but let's hear about it in the field. Here's Canon Ambassador Alex Grymanis, an incredible lifestyle and sports photographer who's already got his hands on the EOS R1.
My name is Alexandros Grymanis. I'm a sports and lifestyle photographer. When I started photography, my parents had an old film camera, Canon camera. I started with that, and when I had the first chance to buy a digital camera, I stick with Canon, and I'm still working with Canon since then. When I first grabbed in my hands the 1DX, I felt like I turned into like a pro photographer, and it was the same exactly feeling when I took the R1 in my hands. For me, R1 is one of the fastest cameras out there. I was really, really amazed when I try the autofocus system. It's sensitive to vertical and horizontal detail, and that helps me a lot because everything is in focus, and the AF system is so good. For me, the best feature is the action priority. When I'm shooting football, I have to use my instinct on where the ball can be the next minute or what will happen. If the camera can do that for me, then I'm pretty happy about that. 40 frames per second, that's crazy, right? In sports photography, the subject moving really fast in front of your eyes. So if you're shooting 40 frames per second, you will capture what you need. I can find new frames while I'm shooting 40 frames per second. I have in my camera the in-camera upscaling mode, which is I can just pick which photo I want to upscaling, and it can just give me like 4 times the resolution from the photo. So about the ergonomics, I'm so excited about the new grip right here. It feels really good in my hands. And the viewfinder, it's bigger than we had before, and it fits really good close to my eyes, and that's the main thing. With the R1, everything is correct from the first moment that I took it into my hands. So yeah, I can say that I'm super excited working with the R1.
So that, my friends, is the EOS R1, the ultimate assistant for headline-grabbing shots. This is a camera that allows you to stay ahead of the game. Why? It has the highest level performance, top speeds, new levels of resolution, and rich cinematic quality. These are just some of the reasons why the EOS R1 is the perfect match for pro sports or wildlife photographers and videographers alike. Moving on now. The 5 series has developed a strong reputation with professionals who choose it for a variety of multimedia applications across both photo and video. It's time to add to that reputation. Introducing the EOS R5 Mark II.
I've been challenged to shoot and edit a music promo and some stills on this, the new Canon EOS R5 Mark II. We're going to be putting the camera through its paces, we're going to be trying out all the exciting new features as we shoot this music promo in this epic location. But before we get into it, let me introduce you properly to the R5 Mark II. So first up, the new backside illuminated sensor, which shoots 8K raw video, impressive 45 megapixel stills. There's also huge improvements in rolling shutter reduction. Next up, the autofocus has had a massive upgrade, meaning that tracking fast-moving subjects or things in the dark, it's never been easier and it's never been more accurate. In terms of filmmaking features, you've got 8K 60, or you can shoot 4K 120. There's also some really cool video features like false color, waveform monitor, and C-Log 2 as well, which is a really cool addition for filmmakers. Got ultra-fast 30 FPS burst capture, and you've got pre-roll for stills and video now, which means you'll never miss a moment. So the body has had a little bit of an evolution from the original R5. You've got a larger EVF now, complete with this really cool eye-controlled autofocus system. There's now a full-size HDMI port, and it's all packed into this really robust, comfortable design that's a real pleasure to shoot with.
So, the EOS R5 Mark II. Let's talk details. The EOS R5 Mark II comes with an all-new, back-illuminated 45 megapixel sensor, capable of shooting up to 30 frames per second on a silent electronic shutter and reduced rolling shutter. Just like with the R1, the R5 Mark II has a mind-blowing hit rate. Canon has evolved its dual-pixel intelligent AF with better tracking and precision, so you never miss a moment. Video on this thing is no joke, with up to 8K 60p resolution video in light RAW, and you can even shoot stills and video at the same time. Now we're joined by Aron from Canon, who's going to take us through the amazing features of the EOS R5 Mark II. Let's get into it, Aron. Can you talk to us about the developments on this second generation camera?
Absolutely. So one of the first significant developments has to be the sensor. So we've developed this from the ground up. It's a BSI sensor, 45 megapixel resolution. It captures light much more efficiently, and therefore there's loads of improvements to the camera. You get better low light performance, better autofocus, but more significantly, the speed at which we can read this sensor has significantly improved compared to the original R5. So now we're getting less rolling shutter on video, and we're able to get continuous bursts up to 30 frames per second on this camera. But on top of that, we've also got the processing capabilities that have really improved. So not only do we have the Digic processor that EOS R cameras are known for having, but we also have a Digic accelerator. And these two now work together to process data at a rate we've never seen before. And that's allowing us to do things like the 30 frames per second, but also have autofocus that's not just fast and responsive. It can work out who the primary player is in a sports game and analyze that scene and focus on that person, even if they're blocked, which is phenomenal. So both the processing as well as the sensor have significantly developed here.
Wow, so a lot to be excited about in terms of features, but it's not just that, it's versatility as well that we're talking about, because this is a great camera for hybrid shooters, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. So the 5 series is known for this. It's known for having capabilities not just for professional photography, but also for video users. Ever since the 5D Mark II, this camera series has been renowned in the industry for that combination. So the 5 series is known for having our very best imaging technology and our very best filmmaking technology, which actually comes from the cinema range, combined in this really compact, nimble, and powerful camera.
Awesome stuff. So let's talk a bit about pre-continuous shooting. Am I right in thinking that the R5 Mark II can start shooting before you actually press the shutter button?
Yes, it can. So now you can get 15 frames of raw images before you've even hit that shutter, so you never miss a moment. And we also have this function for video capture as well. So you can record 3 seconds or 5 seconds of video capture before you hit the record button, which can be really useful for a lot of different scenarios out there.
So if you had to choose your own personal favorite feature of the R5 Mark II, what would it be?
Oh, I think it has to be the filmmaking capabilities, because we've taken a lot of the professional features you see in our cinema range, such as the EOS C400, and put them into this camera. Things like exposure control, like waveform monitor, having maximum dynamic range with Canon Log 2, 12-bit RAW recording. This is 8K up to 60 frames per second, which is absolutely insane. So a lot of those features and even the recording formats are now universal between the cinema range and this camera. So this can easily be a B camera on a super high-end feature-length film and fit right in with a professional filmmaker. So I absolutely love that we're bringing those features to the R5 Mark II.
Right, and let's talk about these grips as well. What can you tell me about these?
Oh, so there's a huge range of accessories that will work for this camera. We have a multi-function shoe on the top where you can have shotgun microphones, you can have XLR adapters, but then as you rightly mentioned, the grips, we have multiple to choose from. And the one that you have there is actually quite unique. That's our cooling grip. So this camera can actually have active cooling once you attach that. So that not only is it extending the battery life, but it's extending the cooling capabilities to really push this camera to the absolute limit. So for example, you can record 8K 30 frames per second, approximately 30 minutes just on the camera body alone. But the moment you attach that, you can get up to 2 hours of recording of 8K 30p RAW, which is absolutely incredible. So it adds a lot more flexibility to the camera if you really want to push it in certain video aspects.
Oh, I like that. Thank you, Aaron. This is a truly phenomenal piece of hardware. Here's hybrid content creator and filmmaker Anthony Rubinstein to tell us more.
So my name is Ant Rubinstein. I'm a director, filmmaker, and photographer, and I've been using Canon products for probably about 12 years now, I'd say. The first camera I ever got, I think, was a Canon 30D. Ever since then, I've sort of slowly upgraded through the Canon ecosystem. When I first started the filmmaking process, a filmmaking camera, a film camera, and a stills camera are very much separate things. And I think that's the really cool thing about this new camera is that you don't have to compromise. You can shoot stills and video simultaneously using the hybrid stills and video function. And it's that hybrid nature that just makes it so much more empowering as a creator that you don't have to prioritize stills or video. You don't have to get out a different body for each different shot. You can just get it all in one. These mirrorless cameras still feel very much a part of that same family from those original DSLRs that I grew up using. The menu structure, the font, everything about it feels familiar. I'm blown away by the autofocus capabilities of this camera. You don't have to worry at all about keeping your subject in focus because the camera does that for you. We were shooting in low light. We were swinging the camera around on a gimbal, and Hannah, our subject, was swinging her hair around doing 360s. But every time the camera was able to pick her up again, rock solid, razor sharp on her eye. So that's very exciting feature to be able to rely entirely on the camera to keep your shot in focus. 45 megapixel stills, that's a lot of megapixels. There's a lot of detail. There's a lot of clarity in there. It's really cool to be able to resolve that much detail and at that quick speed as well. Capturing 30 frames every second just gives you so much choice, just gives you so much information and so much to be working with when you get yourself into the edit. So I was really excited on our shoot to try out the 8K 60p. The reason that we wanted to use it on our shoot was because we were doing this locked off high angle top down shot and we weren't going to be able to reframe and to change lenses during the shot. So shooting 8K was really important because then we can punch 2 times in and still get a 4K image to be working with. When you're shooting video handheld, you are introducing a huge amount of vibration and a huge amount of movement into the camera. So image stabilization is super important. We mounted the camera onto a dinner trolley and we didn't have to worry about the vibrations coming in from the dinner trolley at all. I love the ergonomics. I've got it here, you know, literally in my hand like that. I could almost pretty much put it in my pocket. I'm amazed by how much tech there is crammed into such a small body. So yeah, just in general, really, really impressed with the ergonomics. It's really, really pleasant to hold in your hand and really intuitive to shoot with as well. This camera is able to deal with all of the challenging situations you might find on a video shoot and still able to perform up at the highest possible level alongside dedicated, much more expensive video cameras.
So there you have it, Canon's powerful EOS R5 Mark II, the ultimate camera for unleashing hybrid creativity. For creators of any kind, this is what you've been looking for. For wildlife, to events, to stunning landscapes and filmmaking, the EOS R5 Mark II does it all. But we're not done yet. We've still got a few more brilliant new products to showcase, including expansions to the ever-growing RF lens family. Before that, let's take a look at Canon's latest cinema camera.
And action.
I'm Christine Ng, and I'm a cinematographer. What are we doing? That's a really good question. We're here to make something really fun. I've been very fortunate to be invited to use the newest Canon cinema camera. We're here on set with the Canon EOS C400. We were trying to come up with an idea to really showcase its new features. Something that's like an ode to old Hollywood and a little bit of a whodunit. Being able to direct and create something with my friends is something really exciting for me. We're shooting at the United Palace Theater. It's a historic theater in Washington Heights, New York. As a DP, I'm always advocating for a place that has inherent texture. I always want to be able to almost feel like I can touch the image. I'm really excited to utilize the C400 to showcase this beautiful place. The EOS C400 shoots 6K full frame. That's huge. And I'm really excited that I can get exactly what I want in terms of exposure, dynamic range, with something so small. The triple base ISO, that's a new feature where you have the ability to utilize the low range, the high range. Cool. In a space for us, that's gonna be a little bit of everything that will allow me to showcase the dynamic range and expose for the things that matter to me on screen. Canon's new PL to RF mount adapter goes hand in hand with the EOS C400 and its native RF mount. Now I have access to not only Canon's amazing lineup of RF lenses, but also a wide range of incredible lenses from across the industry.
Everyone set, and action.
We came out here and I was really shooting into the sun, so there were moments where I couldn't really see the monitor exactly, but I really trusted the autofocus. And so when I tapped in, it locks in, I feel assured that it's gonna be all good. The first time I had the EOS C400 in my hands, I was really surprised at how lightweight it was. And it was just really easy to pick it up and go and just be inspired by the space and get shots. Sometimes as a DP, you have these fantasies of fun shots. And then when you start talking to your team about it, like, we can't fit in this space. But given the small form factor of the EOS 400, I'm able to get the shots in 5 minutes. We also wanted to kind of find a way to use 120 frames. So we're like, okay, maybe this is an excellent place for our actress Barbara to kind of destroy something. Okay, so no pressure. I'd love to be shooting in 10 minutes. I think this tool is gonna perform really, really well in every situation it's put under. As a DP, I work in so many different genres, and now I have one tool that works across all of them. I'm really excited to bring it on my documentaries, on my narrative work, both short form and long form, something that can take me on a safari, on a documentary, to being on set on a soundstage in New York. Yeah, that's nice. Having that versatility with something so small and get the power of 6K full frame, that is such a huge advantage. That's a wrap! We did it! We wrapped, we got all the shots we wanted. I'm so excited for y'all to see this little film we made. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Having a camera like the EOS C400 in my arsenal is a game changer.
Canon's latest cinematic innovation, the EOS C400, the first high-end cinema camera to join the EOS R system. It features a backside illuminated stacked sensor delivering 16 stops of dynamic range, Canon's famous organic color reproduction, and industry-leading triple base ISO system. With a compact design that's perfect for professional filmmaking, live production, ENG, and virtual workflows, the C400 truly redefines versatility. Now, if you're a VR filmmaker, the Canon RFS 3.9mm STM dual fisheye stereoscopic lens is a must-have for immersive storytelling. With a 144-degree viewing angle, Canon's first VR lens for the RFS mount opens up 3D VR content creation to a wider audience. Sam Baumel took it for a spin to give his thoughts.
My first camera more than 20 years ago was a Canon camera, and I've always shot Canon since then. It's just so awesome that Canon has decided to invest in this art form. My name is Sam. I am a VR filmmaker. And action. Shooting in VR, you are able to transport your audience to the scene more effectively than with traditional video. The Canon EOS VR system that we've been using today is the 3.9mm dual fisheye lens with the Canon R7 body. This combination is super lightweight, the battery lasts for a long time, the file sizes are small, and the post-production workflow is simple and easy. When you're watching a traditional video, there is a frame, whether it's a movie screen, your phone, your TV, but when you're wearing a VR headset, there really isn't a frame. So there are no peripheral distractions. Everything you see is the intention of the filmmaker. I think that that psychological effect is really powerful and can inspire a whole different range of emotions than in non-immersive filmmaking.
Love it. That was fantastic. Let's move on.
What I love about VR filmmaking is that because it is so new, we get to both make and break the rules for the medium. This story is about the power of image making technology and how image making and viewing images can inspire shifts in your perspective.
Oh, that's cool. I like that. Maybe frame your face with your hands a little bit and you can lunge toward the camera.
One of my favorite shots of the day was when we had a performer with a prop vintage telephone playing to a reflection of herself in the mirror. This shot was actually inspired by an antique stereoscopic photograph from the turn of the last century where you had a woman with a prop in front of a mirror. I just think that a scene plays so well with this kind of lens because you have all these different layers of depth. We're shooting over the shoulder of our performer, so we have her in the foreground. But then you have the mirror itself, which occupies one plane in space. But then you have her reflection, which, if you choose to do so, you can look at that and then you can see much further into the distance.
Now, hold it up like a telescope and be like looking around with that.
Some things that really jumped out today using this system for the first time was just how long the battery lasts. The fact that we have autofocus on this lens, how easy it is to calibrate the lenses. There's also an assist feature on the viewfinder display that shows you an approximation of what the virtual reality headset field of view would be, and that's really cool. This lens pushes the boundaries of what's possible with VR filmmaking because it's so easy to use, it's lightweight, and it's accessible to a whole new class of filmmaker and creator. I am just so excited to see what people create with this new Canon EOS VR system. From documentary to narratives, this is just really opening up so many new creative possibilities.
As you can see, the EOS R system continues to develop with a range of exceptional lenses, including Canon's commitment to hybrid content creators, shown here in the RF 24-105mm f2.8 and the RF 35mm f1.4, bringing the worlds of photography and videography closer together. What a day! We've unveiled the EOS R5 Mark II, the all-rounder and perfect companion for hybrid creatives, and the flagship EOS R1, a game-changing force for capturing fast-paced action with precision. We've also introduced powerful new lenses and tools to transform your shooting experience and grow the incredible and ever-expanding RF lens family. With these announcements, Canon is redefining the limits of creativity and helping you push boundaries. Thanks for joining us.